I'll call the Conservation Commission meeting to order on May 13th. It is 5:04. So let's see, we'll do roll call. Anybody's online?
Okay, Peter DeLisa.
Chris Pickle,
Deb Mapes,
Paul Hauer.
Lori Pavlos,
Joe Russo.
Krista May.
All right. Minutes from the last meeting. Comments. I know, I guess for the record, I had printed them off and then I proceeded to set them down into the remains of my salad dressing. All reason. But anyway, I know I had made a couple of notes that you brought up here from when Janice had done it, but I couldn't change them, and it's, so I don't know, I think it was time it's moved to make maybe the correction for most that really feels strong about any of those. Yeah, I didn't see anything else. Yeah.
Yeah, I just still like it noted that it was position, not opposition.
Yeah, I know.
Because it would predetermine an attitude that doesn't exist yet.
So then maybe, yeah, because it is a good point. I mean, and I think as a commission, we would have a standing and they can.
Well, where that individual is.
Oh, but yeah, you're right.
Like
Yeah.
just.
Yeah. So then I think for, I don't know how we do this, Krista, but it's in it's under section C,
You don't have to change it, you can just amend it by saying.
Yeah.
In the minutes now.
The minutes actually never change. It will just be in the minutes for today's
correction.
meeting.
Okay, all right. And now, is that part of the motion to approve?
Yes.
And- Okay.
Yeah.
Amendment, okay, all right. You wanna make that motion, Peter?
That the recommendation that I made in the previous meeting was to establish a position as regards the what's the
So you would change the,
91.
so you would change one
91
sentence
Sheffield
to say
Street.
a letter regarding our position.
yeah.
Yeah, our,
Instead of opposition.
Opposition.
That's
Yeah.
a simple edit,
Yeah,
our
our
position
position.
instead of opposition.
Thank you.
so you're, move to approve. Well, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes, including the amendment that Peter just made. Second.
I'll second it.
Oh.
Okay, good.
Whoever, Kristen, right there, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, so moved. All right. One announcement that I can make, and I wasn't sure, she probably knows she has a little bit of a conflict, but we do have a new member, Francine Bonkowski. She was approved by the board of selectmen, I think, yesterday or today, just recently.
Was David just a guest or? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was just a guest, yeah.
Okay.
And Francine had, I mean, I guess for the record, he'd never asked to be on it. I think he's pretty busy with the garden club, but I think he was great. He could come
Yeah.
anytime.
Yeah,
But Francine had reached out to me a while ago and wrote a lovely letter and sent it to, Carl and her interest. I'll let her introduce herself and hopefully she'll make it to the next meeting, but she has to get sworn in, so technically she wouldn't even be a voting person right now, but,
Yeah, who's she replacing all this work?
she is replacing Larry with Tom.
Oh.
Who's co-chair. I like Tom Horton, I think we got co-chair, but to ask him, don't know how we do that.
Wasn't the family member supposed to get a letter from the resignation?
He finally said, he sends it into, Sarah Becker.
Remember you had that?
Yeah, he finally did do it. Yeah, no, in fact, he was going off on a very long cross-country bike trip. And I was like, oh no, get it done before you leave. So we are now back to full house again, which is good. And it makes it easier sometimes when somebody misses anything out. Let's see, correspondence and announcements. I think this is just sustainable CT stuff that I'll cover. When we do Lynette's piece.
Did everybody get a copy of that?
Oh,
Kind of, yeah.
I know there might be cleaning, yeah, thank you. I don't have anything else other than telling you the fancy instruments. So let's move on to the committees and the wetlands. Here.
That's the same story. It's continued
This week, right?
at the petitioner's request, yeah. And supposedly we'll be moving forward on Thursday.
Yeah, I went to the last meeting, I think. To this, yeah, and, it was interesting. I mean, they, I think, your chair does a very good job of
Exactly.
running the meeting, yeah, and he is a lawyer,
Yes,
which I thought was
it's helpful.
very helpful.
Yeah.
Because their lawyer, she was fine. Well, it's easier to speak.
Is this the Sheffield Street?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that a peppermint?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, yeah, I guess for the record, Peter, I mean, nothing, she presented their case, they had the person who's the expert on building wetlands, rebuilding wetlands,
Yeah.
was there. Somebody else spoke to the water, that is online.
Online was
Was that-
an agent of the town.
Oh, he's the agent of the town.
He was hired to be an inspector of what that company was doing with development.
So there's lots of information, I mean, you saw the documents online, and that's sort of what was presented for the most part.
So there's no,
But no
No
resolution,
resolution, yeah.
no vote, no recommendation was made, it's still a
They,
couple questions, right?
the applicant wanted to regroup and react to some of the questions that came up, but they weren't ready to respond to them at the meeting. So they asked for a continuance so that they could figure out where they stood and come back with that this week.
Yeah, there was some good questions. Did you listen? Were you on?
No, I don't. They jumped in on this remotely.
Yeah, I might do, I thought it would be standing room only.
I thought so too.
But it was not, it was,
I mean, it was a crowd for inland wetlands, but
yeah, but it was just downstairs in the covers.
Do they have any, the residents in the area showing up for that?
Yeah,
yes,
Because I ran into one.
yeah, trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they, our letter was referenced, it was included in the material in addition to other people's letters. And I think they were all online.
yeah, I had said if, why wouldn't they consider 4 homes instead of 5? So that the need for tampering with the wetlands would go away.
Is that?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And she said, well, we can't do that.
Well, yeah.
But she needed more time to respond from I think, a financial perspective.
Well, I guess, I think it's, fair, it was a public meeting, but I think one of the questions was asked, because I was thinking this in my head, which is giant public meetings to really speak up. But, somebody said, the guy that was saying how you can rebuild wetlands and it takes 3 to 4 years or something to fully say that it's successful. And somebody said, well, what if it isn't? He said, well, they kind of hedged it. And then they said, well, then you kind of have to start over. And then somebody said, well, who's going to pay for that? And that was
Yeah.
an unanswered question,
Yeah.
because it was, which I was really surprised that more people didn't say more, because if it left to, let's say, the residents at that time. Yeah, and it's like, I don't know about it. So,
Well, first of all, when they say 3 to 4, that's just an establishment. That's not,
Right,
that's a whole different, they're
Right.
mixing up a couple of topics.
yeah,
That
and
means
one,
they finished putting the stuff in, but doesn't mean it's five.
I know,
That's-
yeah. Well, and the guy that has lived down there for quite a while in his condos brought up that he's watched the storms coming in, the storm surge, and it gets flooded.
Absolutely.
It doesn't happen every day, but.
I, not to beat on this, but with that development, all those homes, the
Mhm.
whole flow pattern for rain and earthquakes
Yes.
going to dramatically change with all that asphalt and everything.
Mhm.
roads.
Yeah,
People don't realize how incredibly fast that changes everything. When you start, and you're about 4 houses.
Five.
5 houses in that small area. Between the cemetery.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
it's
you
10
can't
acre
really
parcel.
see it. I went back there finally. You have to go past that gate, right, and walk back.
You have to go in,
Yeah.
yes.
So I didn't, I was like, actually, it was after the environmental fair. I was like, oh, right here. Just go down there.
What a famous spot.
Yeah.
No, that's crazy.
All right.
Okay.
Reserve Management Committee, we did not meet, and so our minutes don't really come out to the next meeting, so, but yeah, nothing new, no knowledge. Land Trust?
There, I wasn't able to go to the last meeting, but neither was the president or the vice president, and they were just gonna set up the annual meeting. You know, so it was a minor meeting before the annual meeting, which Joe attended, but I had a concert, so couldn't go. You were there, so, I
The
know-
annual meeting?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I gave a talk
Yeah.
there.
Oh,
And that was pretty much it. They met briefly. after.
Mhm.
It wasn't-
Yeah.
They
And I have their agenda.
Gave the whole time frame.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't think there's anything new on the agenda that hasn't been covered in previous
Yeah.
regular
I think that's
meetings.
fair.
okay. Parks and Rec?
Yes, I'll have to describe it. Under their new business, they are trying to look for a location in the downtown area for the Rotary Club Peace Bowl. We
Oh.
have one at the high school. Peace Bowl,
Mm-hmm.
they call it. They told me there was one at the high school.
They might be, I just,
You know,
what is it again?
I don't know. I haven't been looking for a spot. I don't know. I think it's just,
It's a white, yeah, my husband's on the Rotary. It's about maybe this tall, white. I forget what is on it. It was something that started in
There's
Japan, like.
usually peace in many different languages
Oh,
and
that's
something like that.
There you go. Yeah, that's right.
And they created,
I don't like the disc on the orchard, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so that was, they're looking for, they want to put it downtown, so they're looking for a spot. They're also, and they, you know, gave part-time rec the responsibility. They're also looking to locate a kayak rack that was donated by the Harvard Management Commission, big rack, big one. And so they're working in Frank Vista, they're trying to do that for a while. So-
Yeah, Larry was covering that and then he just,
So that was brought up that they're really trying to get serious.
that's great. Yeah, because if there really is kind of a lack.
And then there was some teacher school representatives that are also involved in sports came in, they desperately need to renovate the ball fields to increase participation in sports by students. And so Park and Rec's can explore alternatives or just to recondition some other fields. So I mean, it's a real need, so they're looking at. And those were really the highlights. The rest was all business was same. And go.
It's not here, so I'm skip it. Collier?
I went to stewardship, the dinner was on the 26th, but it was canceled because of the rain. And, so we weren't able to get anything in April, but we were supposed to have our camping trip on May 3rd, and then we had to postpone that because of the rain. So now it's moved to the 27th to the 28th, which is the last day of Memorial Day weekend. And so it'll be a little bit warmer anyway, which will be good. And we also just ordered ecology color t-shirts that will be selling to anyone in the school. That's it.
What's your plans? Aren't you going plans?
Yeah, really good. I've got some pictures, but
Hey,
they're making great progress. It's like one of our shelves. I don't know if you can see. it.
wow.
Yeah.
And then there's like, it goes like, there's rows like this all around the perimeter, and then there's 3 in the middle of the room. So but there's like plants everywhere. So,
That's great.
Yeah.
And you're gonna, remind me, are you gonna sell them or what are you gonna do with them?
So each like table is around there like managed by a different group, like we have any called a code table. And then there's like different science classes having a lot of like life skills classes have them, so they can choose what they want to do with them. For my environmental class, we're growing a lot of herbs that we'll use in an end of year like meal that we're making. And then a lot of people are taking theirs home, like once they're matured. And yeah, there's different. And we're also planting some of the flowering plants around the outside of the greenhouse and around the front of the school, like we're going to around the sign.
Great. Oh, yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you. Sustainable CT, so, yeah, well, that, it's not, you didn't know, she wasn't gonna be here, but she just did mention that they're doing this virtual equity training series, so I think we could just read through this, it's open to anyone who's interested. So, yeah, this is first I've seen this, and one is on tracking equity at the forefront, measuring what matters, sustainable change, so yeah. Oh, we have to do all three is required.
This was, well, this is fucking the time, huh?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
So who is the target for customers? So we said they get credit.
This is something that, I don't know if this is specific to sustainable Connecticut, because when this, this whole program was required, that we were required to take this for applying for certain grants when I was director at Landmark. So this Ready program is a thing unto itself. So, yeah, so that when I looked at it, I thought it may give us points for sustainable Connecticut, but it's not sustainability oriented, I think.
This is for policy development.
Yes, but
Yeah, because I know there's an equity piece to some of the actions, which is more like, say, if you're Bridgeport or someone, you know, you're trying to impact, all.
oh, that's awesome. There's an awesome plant. There's a native plant place in New Haven, right? So that, maybe
Yeah.
with that would have, that
Yeah,
would be like gold
Right.
stars for this kind of.
right, exactly. So
Yeah.
trying to reach all people.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, I think she just wanted to pass this on to us. So. Okay, so I think, we're still a little far off from applying again, but our activities are always continuing. So. Yep, thanks. All right, moving on to land stewardship, open space monitoring. I think we were just trying to identify.
I was hoping that when that was gonna be here, because there's a little patch of open space across College Street. From my friend's been saying, what's going on over there? They keep doing things. And I wanted to find out if sometimes people get permission to do positive things, invasive removal in the open space that's near their property. So I need to reach out to Lynette, so that she'd be here, because they might have gotten permission to do something. She's afraid they're doing something without permission, and it's not possible.
I have a question about open space. Brent sent me from his neighborhood, somebody clear cut through a marsh. And he wanted to know what the guidelines in the town was, but someone just plowed, just cut a swamp right through it. And he didn't, I mean, I have a picture, but I didn't look for open space. whether that falls.
Well, if it's the, yeah, I mean, first thing I would say, only because I live on the marsh, that, you know, when I went and, you know, got a reputable person to remove the Phragmites that's in our space, the marsh is owned, some of it is owned by the town, is that right? No, or the land trust, and some is owned by the state, like, it's not private property law, like, it depends on where it's at. So the first thing I do is look at the map, you know, the maps that we have, because it should show you there. Because, hey,
Most of the marsh
They
is
were
not,
supposed
is
to do
not
that.
actually owned by the.
Right. Yeah, so I don't know that we'd have any jurisdiction to do anything about it other than now that we're aware, we could, you know, call Carl or somebody, because I don't think it's allowed. Well, we can all.
Yeah, what,
Okay, I don't know.
do you know what address it is?
Yeah, it's down, here, well, I can get the address, from the shot picture, but it was.
You can take help with that, right?
Yeah, it would be land use,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I don't, but I'll pass it on.
Yeah, maybe pass it on to her, and then if you get the address, well, you know where the map's on the town website, right? Which is what it should show clearly, you know, who owns it. I mean, there is a possibility that it maybe there's the land just.
So even if it's on his land, even if it's on his land,
Yeah,
his
true.
land use is restricted even on private land.
Yeah, that would be.
Mhm.
That's wetland, so that's.
Yeah, that's right, so you just. Pump it to.
Yeah, well, that would be first to determine
Yeah,
if there's a situation or not.
Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna do that.
And then she would cause the party to come before the commission.
Okay, yeah, no, but
Yeah, we just. We're on the picture, just the question.
yeah, no, it's a good,
I mean, people, you know, that's our biggest challenge here as well. I know that everybody's always encroaching on marshes and everything. I think it was 100 feet or something, you're not supposed to do from marsh.
I don't know about marshes, you know,
But there was some restriction in terms
for
of.
wetlands. I don't know what marshes.
Well,
Marsh would be
well,
one, but
is,
marsh-
marsh is, well,
Is it tidal?
yeah, these are all.
Oh, okay, it's not freshwater.
That's just not even owned by it's not privately owned.
Marshes are public.
Private
yeah,
marshes,
right.
they're not.
Yeah.
So your property only ends to a marsh edge.
right,
Right.
we have this little peninsula that is part of ours, that is land that you can walk on, but you're right, you know,
Okay.
but we did get.
Sounds like
permission and all of
It might be a foul.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll pass it. I'll talk to them.
Pollinator pathway. That is so busy.
Yes, so, let's see, so a couple weeks ago, Kevin, my husband and I went and did the fertilizing, so we got that done. It looked like the town had done some kind of fertilizing. There were little pellet things, and I was like, but I went ahead and did the one that we've been doing, the 10-10-10. So, and then Lori and I went yesterday, and weeded, one of the two, halves of the garden. And Lori taught me a lot about which things were weeds and what they were called. So, there was a lot of mugwort. That was the biggest thing we
Yeah.
found, right?
And the fennel.
Oh, and then the fennel, which had spread everywhere.
Oh.
It's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's a lot. more.
Yeah, so we removed a lot of mugwort and some of the fennel.
Willie.
The sticky willy, that was the other one. I love the name of that. So
Are these invasive or?
the mugwort is.
Snowboard is definitely invasive. Sticky Willie is not native and it can be aggressive. I don't know if it's considered.
Funny, I do these all the time, I have no idea about some of them, I might know, but that's great that you know the names of weeds, I can't keep track of the names of plants half the time.
Well, the mugwort is very, I'll notice that again, and it's got,
I smell everything.
oh, I didn't think to smell it, but there's more there, I can still smell.
I I even tasted,
That's
Oh, no.
interesting.
because I was trying to figure out whether it was fennel or, Queen Anne's lace.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
Queen Anne's lace would taste like carrot and fennel tastes like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it looks,
No, that's-
they're the same family, they just have different,
That's right.
yeah.
How do you test wild mushrooms? Same one.
I don't taste everything.
And then did we decide it was Queen Anne's lace or just
I
fennel?
think it's just fun, it seemed like it just hadn't developed that fragrance
The
yet,
fragrance, yeah.
but I'm not sure. There might be
Yeah,
some
so
Queen Anne's
Lynette,
lace.
we planted, she brought a fennel from her garden that.
Oh,
the
the big one.
gigantic-
Well, there
Right.
was definitely fennel, there's
Yeah.
no question, but
Yeah.
there might have been a little bit of Queen Anne's.
Yeah.
Oh, that kind of,
So
It's
what
very
are you
similar.
planting? What are you planting?
Well, we'll get to that in a second. So yeah, this is getting ready. Okay, so yeah, there was a lot there, a lot had grown since last year. So anyway, so we did a lot of meeting. Right, so, we need to get the rest done, we as a group, so we'll talk about that in a bit. And in terms of what we want to plant, so, we had identified, I think at the last meeting, we mentioned that we'd had this ad hoc meeting and we came up with a list. So, I went to Van Wilgen, the other day and they had some of the plants and they said they could get the other ones. So then I went back today, I got the prices. I mentioned it to Chris to see if it was gonna be about $460 and then mentioned to see if we could get that.
and just for the, yeah, so we have $250 in our pollinator budget from selling the signs and stuff. But Lynette had told me after I spoke with you that it won't be a problem to supplement that from our budget.
Okay.
It is great, yeah, Chris, yeah, I'll just.
Okay.
We'll figure it out.
Great. So anyway, I went back today, and I just missed the person I needed to speak with because I wanted to find out how long it would take if we order stuff. So anyway, I'll go back first thing tomorrow because I wanted us to come up with a planting day.
Yeah,
So we'll have to make some best guesses and then tomorrow I can go and confirm. And, of course, we don't have to buy everything from there, but they look like they could get everything. The only thing that they might not get right away is the goldenrod usually comes in later. So, if that's the case, we could plant that later.
yeah. Oh, good.
So,
Yeah, I figure, I mean, it saves having to run all over the place and get one here and there and.
yeah.
And there's not, I've looked around a bit and near us, there's a little tiny, like Smithfield has a couple, two cone flowers. Acer has, a few things. It's just, it's not, it'll be easier to get.
They're all
which one.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are,
Right.
yeah.
Especially because she was really willing to be helpful and order
Yeah,
stuff.
I would go with
And-
that.
and-
I think
yeah.
that's great.
Yeah, and it's in local, it's right on Saybrook.
Yeah, no, I know, and I think I was saying that, they're big places down in Brantford, and hopefully that might just be bringing it up here. They're not gonna keep everything in this little space here anyway.
Yeah, she did mention that, their usual perennial supplier had some kind of fire and lost a lot of the plant material. I don't know what the farm was, so she said that, they're having trouble getting things, but she thought she could get it from somebody else. So anyway, yeah, so, in terms of weeding the rest of the garden, so I actually, did all that I can. I did, trigger some problems with my hip and back, so I'm not gonna be able to do any weeding for a bit. So we need a couple of people who'd be willing to weed, and I know Dave has always volunteered. So that's one thing, and then we need, I don't know how many people would want to plant, we're planting a lot of stuff. So maybe 3,
Yeah, I can definitely help, and I'm so close, I can help down there too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm good for like an hour.
Yeah, we can come up with the time and go down and do.
Yeah.
We also decided to use, what were the names that?
Oh, then, great, yes.
yeah,
So
so
the plant things.
oh, that's a whole nother, that's another.
Oh,
idea.
I thought that's what you were talking about, the labels. Yeah.
Um,
Oh, wrong meeting. I'm in the wrong meeting.
yeah, so I told Lori that, Karen and I used to talk about, we should name the 2 patches, and this was Karen's idea.
Brilliant.
Holly and Nate. The 2. So, I mean, maybe
So
that's
we weeded Nate And we need to get back to,
And so this one is
Polly, if
They're
we're
just-
looking at Vicky Duffy.
so you're looking at them,
at them, you're on the
Oh,
sidewalk.
looking at them,
At them.
okay.
and you're reading it, Holly. So that was remember what's.
Left, right,
There you go. All
That's
right, thank you.
See you.
just for internal
Yeah.
purposes.
So unless anyone thinks that like it's too cute for words, but. Yeah, I'm gonna make it, so. Great, yeah, and then in terms of like planting day, I don't know how we should do this, but I don't know, maybe a couple weeks out. I mean, I can find out
Yeah,
tomorrow.
when they're.
Yeah.
planning
I just know that
Yeah.
it's hard to, schedule, you know, if we don't know something, yeah, anyway. I guess I could put out a few dates or something, once I know,
Yeah, once you get to hear from when the plants will be done in,
yeah,
just send a note to our group and we'll just go
Okay.
down there. It'd be good to get them in probably as soon as we
As soon
can.
as
Get
possible,
lots of
definitely.
rain, it's not real hot.
right,
Right.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if she can get them right away, I mean, we could try aiming for next week.
And I'm here, I'm not going on vacation.
Right.
so-
Okay, yeah, and I'm gone for a few days at Memorial Day, but then I'm around, so, so sometime I'll do. Okay, great, so I'll email, people about that. And then the only other thing I was gonna say is, at the environmental fair, I was chatting with Dave, and he's had this idea, this would be probably for another year, but he thought it'd be great to, have, pollinator plants along the path that is over across the street by the pickleball courts, and we have that path that goes, I actually haven't walked it myself. So, yeah, so anyway, a project to think about for the future, because it's a very public area. You know, it would be an actual pollinator pathway, right, because it goes along the path. Yeah, so I thought that was a nice idea.
Try to remember in the fall to do some winter sowing of.
Oh, yes, that's a great idea.
That's it.
Because we can have dozens and dozens of, butterfly weed or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
The ones
yeah.
that I planted 2 years ago are stout bushes now.
Yeah, same with
And
mine.
so, by doing some winter sowing, we can.
Are you looking at
Fill- fill the-
perennials or?
Yes, yeah.
Perennials.
Yeah.
We can end up filling
You've
a
got
big
lots of
space.
there.
Yeah,
you-
nowadays.
Rather than buying, $9 or
Right.
$4 a plant, you can just get some packets of seeds and winter sow them. And
Oh, what I was gonna say is Bonnie had suggested, because it wasn't in your notes, and I was gonna remind you, Deb, that,
Okay.
not, I'm not trying to like say, you didn't write them down.
No, it's okay.
Remember, she showed us the little plant sticks that,
Oh,
that
yes.
were much
Yes.
more, what's the word I want, sustainable than the little things that we put in a couple years ago.
Right.
And you, because I think you get them online and they were metal or plastic, but then you get the label, you were there.
They're metal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were metal, and then you just print the label at a printer,
yeah,
you know, whatever your plant
That's
is,
amazing.
and
I still don't understand how that works. It looked like it was engraved, or not engraved, but embossed onto the metal. But
it
she
was a
printed it.
sticker, yeah, it was.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't,
They have
wasn't a
machines
sticker that did for,
Yeah.
No, they have machines. that just print.
no, these are blank metal stakes and a sheet that you put in your printer.
No,
So
she
that-
said that she went to a printer like
Yeah, there's.
a real, like.
Oh,
It's a special
okay.
printer.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, not our printer, no, she's saying.
All right. Okay.
Okay,
So I'm sorry, yeah, I was using global printer, but yeah, like as in a
You
commercial.
do it regular, that'd be one thing.
But we can tackle that at some point, or
Yeah.
double check with her.
But I will add it
She's
too. I'm
on
trying to keep some, notes that will be like things to have forever about like how we maintain the garden and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. So I'm trying to create
Like,
like,
like a handbook.
yeah, handbook,
That's
exactly.
true
So-
when
Yeah.
we pass it on to the next generation
Right.
of conservation commission. Now, thank you for all the work. It's exciting. Yeah, I'm excited to make it more robust.
Oh, right, I forgot to say one more thing, which is, it's looking not too bad at the moment.
Yeah,
The
the
golden
golden
zizia.
This is
Zizia,
your-
it looks
right.
awesome. There's 4 of them and they're all in
Yeah.
bloom. And then the Iberis, there's 2 of those and one is small, the other one has got a lot of greenery around it and, I thought that one had died and it was back. And then all of the asters that we planted last year that struggled, they're all still there. So they might
Yeah,
do that this year.
it's interesting. I mean, I was just looking at my own little garden that I did and, I'm trying to remember, but something comes up like really late, like it's like this big. And of course, I don't mind my plants either, but whereas my butterfly, you know, the bushes they're robust and all of that, and the milkweed is, I think it's milkweed, but anyway, it's when I thought things have died and the plant that, the bush that I got from Van Wilkins that I put in last year, it looked so dead at the end of the fall, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's growing. It's like they fool you sometimes when you think that they're dying and they're not, when they're dead.
So they say 3 to 3 years, right? First year they sleep, the second year they creep, and the third year they leap.
Oh,
So it takes a while.
yeah.
All right, tree preservation, you know, I know they have their tree sale or their tree giveaway the same day of our fair, and you know, I haven't been making the SOS meetings. But you go.
Yeah, I go, the only one I didn't go to was the last one,
Yeah.
because I knew I wasn't gonna be, it was all the prep for the giveaway,
Oh,
and I knew I wasn't gonna be there. so.
yeah. So I guess, yeah, I think it went.
Yeah.
Well, I know the plants got delivered and my friend Tim stopped by up there, walked around and got a chance to meet him. Yes.
I did, yeah.
That's nice. Had some distinction.
Like sweater or something, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, conservation, so outreach and education are the next agenda items, the circular and events magazine. I don't think we have anything that we need to do about bringing to events magazine. And I never did, so it came out late, as I think we all acknowledge. And I then left within, what, 2-3 days for vacation, because, when I reached out to, Jennifer, who collates all the info, she said, no, it was Essex, printing fault, like they were late, and I was gonna complain.
They were really late.
Yeah,
They
it
were
was,
really
I
late.
know. Yeah, so,
Yeah, it arrived like 2 days before the fair.
Yeah.
Exactly.
well, and anybody that had anything in April,
Oh, yeah,
It
those,
was
yeah.
on.
I mean, it was, you know, the fishing derby with the Parks and Rec,
Yeah.
there was lots of, you know, right, maybe we can hold back, I don't, unless anybody has some great ideas to put into a circular, we can think about that in the fall, have a little more quiet time and put something, nothing done in the fall. The webpage, additional outreach. So yeah, we can spend some time talking about our AAR, or whatever we want to call it, after action review of our environmental fair. Because I think it's worth making some notes if we think we want to do it again. So,
Well,
yeah.
we have a couple of comments. One is the date
Yeah.
was in conflict with everything.
Mhm.
So either move it up or move
It
it
doesn't
later.
have to be right around birthday.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Because
If it's
everything else,
just
I think
too
it's
much,
just,
yeah,
I think you're
everybody-
right. I think it'd be fine in February, sometime when there's sort of a downtime, there's not a lot.
Especially if
going
it's inside, you want to go
Right,
yeah.
earlier. So that would be one thing. Be great to have some signs outside. Everybody got lost and they didn't know quite where it was. So have some of those stand up
Yeah.
vinyl or wooden that was turning here.
Right.
That would be, somebody needs to take care of the heating and cooling. Exactly. I don't know how to
Yeah, I
control
know.
it. And the guy over there didn't know how to work.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
really?
yeah.
Wow.
And he-
Yeah, he tried.
Yeah.
but he didn't.
Over on
I
the
wonder
sidewalk.
who normally does that.
And where the Janice was. And so they asked to have it turned on.
Yeah, it was, you couldn't even hear
Blowing
it.
it
You couldn't
loud.
hear anything.
Oh, no.
At one point, it did go off though. I mean, well, I guess it just went off on its
It just
own.
went off.
Yeah, because I just made an assumption that.
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
It went off in its own later, because it got so cold. it was,
No, but it was very loud. It was hard.
Yeah.
All right, so,
Yeah, so that should just be turned off, you know, for the period that we have. I think overall, the table arrangement worked. There's plenty of space
Mm-hmm.
for people to move around. The speaking was some probably distracted.
Yeah, I think it would, maybe would have been better either not to have that at all
I agree with that.
or in a classroom.
Yeah, no, I
But,
know.
you know, I think in a classroom, it would have been, you know, unless the fair was packed with people, then you could, you know, have some of them go off into a classroom. I think it was unfair to Kathy
Yeah.
and,
Well,
Think
first
so.
you could hear it. I mean,
Yeah, and the Bobcat lady was even softer.
Oh,
Yeah,
so that was.
Maria.
I think just Canada.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think
because
so.
you had so much information.
Yeah.
Right.
You got it one-on-one.
Yeah, yeah.
I think you need some incentive for people to come, some small giveaway.
Yeah.
That would just, especially for kids or something, that would attract people to come. You know,
Well, somebody said food. I mean, you know, tying
I
in
think
with like the
some-
Lions or
it's
somebody.
Something
to at least, you know,
educational.
And plus
Well,
that,
yeah, there were people have giveaways.
Yeah, but I mean, but
Promoted, you mean?
promoted
Yeah.
ahead of
Yeah.
time, that's what it wasn't promoted, that there was that much information.
No, that's true. We didn't promote the
Yeah.
raffle. Right. We had some nice stuff.
Yeah, but I wonder if that's why we didn't have higher attendance. I think it was that, you know, maybe the word didn't get out enough in general about it. And also, that there was some.
There was, everybody told me there was other stuff, they wanted to go, but they.
Oh, really?
couldn't.
Okay, that's good to
Yeah,
know.
I think that was the number.
The
one.
number one thing,
Yeah.
yeah.
So they just, you know, so I think if we do it early, when it's colder,
Yeah,
especially because of the information about plants and
Mhm.
things
Right,
that will
it's
get
getting ready.
ready.
Right.
Yeah, it's great when people start getting their
Right.
gardening.
March
catalogs.
is like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
March would be
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it would be.
But I thought the venue, otherwise, you know, if they
Yeah,
could
we're trying.
get the warmth and get the noise down, it's not bad, it's pretty
Yeah.
open, it's huge.
Yeah, no, I think it was, the venue was great.
And the people who came seemed to enjoy, you know,
Absolutely.
there was a few good conversations with your husband. You know,
Mhm.
there was a young man who was, you know, it seemed like, did he feel like he?
oh, yeah, he talked with like at least 15 people.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
he said, yeah,
Oh.
it went well with him.
Yes, so
So
that's,
that was good.
right.
Yeah,
Um,
and the Yukon representative, I talked to, Carla, but the Yukon extension, that was at the first table.
Oh,
Oh.
Right.
Yeah, I can get around it.
Carlos,
well, Danielle,
I forgot.
was there who had attended it, but not the one who ran it, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
But she followed up and got back to me, and she's needing resources for their courses, Gardner, so I'm gonna speak at one in September, Ed is gonna speak.
Oh, great.
So,
Oh.
so just letting you know, she is reaching out
Great.
for expertise,
Mhm.
he said, to help with the course, and it's right in town, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
September, I guess they get credits or something for master gardeners,
Mhm, mhm.
whatever it is.
This is the Yukon Extension?
Yeah, okay. I think they're a great resource. I think you gotta hook up with them early because they really are connected with everybody as far as information seekers, things like that. That's quite a.
I'm going there Saturday for an in the wetlands,
Oh, for your.
6-hour training session.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a classic, so I
Yeah.
And
think,
if we do it earlier, we can get the conservation district plant stuff
Yes.
ordering, because this was after the
Oh, yeah,
ordering
yeah.
time was complete, so
Yeah,
there's
we get, yeah.
some other things.
Yeah. But yeah, I really thought all of the people that exhibited were great, you know,
Yeah. And people were
Talking to
positive
everyone.
about,
Yeah.
you know, they were not upset that, you know, there weren't crowds.
Yeah.
People were
well, also we
positive.
just mingled among ourselves. I mean,
Yeah,
I
and
met
you
a
know,
lot of-
but
Yeah.
a lot of people said.
I
it's
met a
just good
lot
to
of
know-
people
Right,
there,
it's
yeah.
just good to know other people care, you know, it's just,
Yeah.
No, I
like,
meant-
you know, it's not, no, really, you know, people were saying
Yeah.
that, but they just appreciated going and
Yeah,
talking to other,
because I never go out to
Yeah.
school there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
doing it.
yeah.
And, yeah, it's just,
so.
so that was a big positive.
Well, we'll have, you know, we have our Google Docs with all the, you know, who's there and even people who couldn't make it,
Right.
contact again.
You know, it'd be nice too, but I don't know, maybe this would attract people, but on our tables to put standardized, which groups are just hanging something on the table. So we have,
Oh, yeah.
so
Some of
going
them
around, yeah, some had it, but if we could
Right.
standardize a banner, you know,
Yeah.
that people, because that
Keep
could
it
be reused.
simple. Yeah.
Or just, you know, request of the group or give them instructions on how to get it. It's a small investment, but then you can just scan with your eye on all the tables and see what the topics are. Yeah, and also the organization of, because I know there was one next to me, belonged next to the, had similar literature, but they were separate.
Oh,
But group them so that there's a sort of a spectrum of themes
Yeah.
going through logically.
Yeah, we were trying to do that at the beginning, but then, you know, people were coming in.
I get it.
Replace them, but
Yeah.
yeah.
you
But it
did a
makes
nice
sense.
job, you really did.
Yeah.
Just even
I'm trying to keep up with them.
Well, that's
that one
what that's
over
what I'm
and-
saying, if we can get a
But we were-
standard banner, you
Yeah.
can set them all up ahead of time.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you go here, you go there, but you think it all, lay it out, and that
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
makes a difference, because then people, when you're, you know, they're talking at two tables, sometimes you can team together. And where the topics of it were totally different than our topic,
Yeah.
but, you know, I can see with the table, I got, she did the,
Oh, you were next to Lights Out, weren't you?
Lights Out, yeah,
Yes.
she belonged up next to the, that was doing the pathway, whatever, for migratory.
Uh-huh, right.
That's what the fifth was, where she was just out of place where we were.
Right.
So there's a suggestion.
Yeah.
Have it all pre-set up and watch.
Yeah.
But I thought it was great, I mean,
No, I just, you know, not that we're like amateurs, because we all bring some
Yeah.
experience from whatever we have done, but at the same time, it all came together, like, it just, so yeah. Definitely laying everything out, and they
So-
also
So
got
we
it.
have contacts now, right? We've
Yes.
got-
you wait.
Did Nina go after them?
Oh, the people that put their emails
Yeah.
into the,
Yeah.
the
Oh,
rental
oh,
prices,
that,
yeah, because
oh.
they need to go into. Is that for us or is that for like?
It's for us.
Yeah,
Who has that?
somebody has. Oh, we can, well,
Probably Nina.
it's a way
She was doing a
we
gravel
can send
thing, so she-
a newsletter to people who.
Yeah, that's right.
We
Yeah.
don't have to, yeah, we don't, but, you know.
Yeah, the other, you know, I mentioned Ed Rajan, who's like an incredible resource. I'm gonna try to bend his arm to do like an insect fair.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because really that was missing. I mean, we have all that expertise.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's not as active because he's retired, but he did I can't tell you the incredible job. He was an extension. And he did these incredible fairs for kids. And every,
Yeah.
hundreds of kids used to come
Yeah.
to eat the insects, you know,
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and, but I think if I can get him, or he can get some help, maybe team up with UConn, or start build that concept. That would be a big draw. Or something.
Yeah.
Only learn about insects, but you would have, kids love it.
Yeah, yeah.
Second only to dinosaurs, but, you know.
Oh, one for you on this.
Yeah,
Dinosaurs are hard to find.
But they, exactly, and they used to give them little kits and
Yeah,
how to go after.
and, yeah, I mean, I think that's a huge knowledge gap. That, you know, our general resident would have, so the parents will be able to learn with the kids how important insects are. Because in general, people.
Yeah.
Have no clue that they're the basis for the entire.
Everything.
For everything.
Yeah.
And they just want to get rid of them.
Exactly,
And
they
they're-
don't understand the ecology of
Yes,
that whole
right.
relation
Right,
between the trees, the plants, the
Yeah.
insects, and how it all has to work together.
Yeah.
They miss that. you know.
yeah.
Everybody
and
has
it's
eats
really
the
important.
insects. and-
High protein,
Yeah. Well, maybe eating them all.
it's not bad, actually.
So in terms of thanking the people that came, should we all just thank whoever we invited?
I meant to do that right away to Janice.
Yeah, that's
Just
a
like
good
email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes sense if we can.
Just reach
Reach out, just send an
Email's
email.
fine,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
I already did Maria from Deep, who did the Bobcats.
Oh,
I sent her an email, actually, when I came back from vacation, and I said, I'm sorry, I meant to do this right away. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
so, yeah, I think it's just a quick
Yeah.
note.
yeah.
And then I will, I have to find an email. I also will follow up with the, woman over at Wild Birds Unlimited who donated, just.
Oh,
Jessica, is it Jessica? I think it's Jessica, yeah. She's the
oh,
manager.
she's lovely.
Yeah, even if I just stop over there.
You know what you do, pick a date soon and lock them in for next year.
Oh, yeah.
Talk to them right now, because, get on their schedule early, because they get gobbled up on folks, so we can get moving on. Get a Saturday or whatever in the future here. I mean, it sounds like it's too early, but it is.
Yeah, no, even if we just, the next couple months.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because March is, I don't know if we want to tie it into a spring sort of thing. First day of spring is. Well, the 21st is a Saturday. But I think, well, let's think about it and maybe put our heads together to think what else might be a conflict, and just make sure like spring break or, I don't know, whatever.
Right.
In March,
But that sounds about right towards the end of March.
yeah. Why is it really showing on that? I turned off a lot of, there was so many like weird holiday things turning up on the calendar, it's like, maybe you could turn them off. Right, so yeah, let's pick a date.
So have we already discussed and decided we want to do this like every year? I mean,
That's
it's
the
a
question.
lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Well, I think we should,
Yeah.
I don't know, every year, but I suppose we could do one just so that it's fresh in our minds if we do it next spring, but then I wouldn't necessarily do it annually.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, because because it would be a lot of the same information.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
same kinds of people, so I don't know. If we need to
Yeah,
do it
and
every year,
typically,
and it is a lot of work.
yeah.
Or we
it's a lot of
could,
work.
let's say there were 4 or 5 categories at our fair. We could take one category and offer something different. Instead of, actual presentations,
Mhm.
4 20-minute presentations on wildlife.
And I think the presentation thing is too hit or miss.
Uh,
I think that having tables, the way, just leaving it that way, because then people will slot it into their schedule and they'll see the entire fair as they arrive. But if you have presentations, people don't know which 20 minutes they're
Yeah,
interested
I
in.
I'm just trying to come up with a different format.
Yeah.
So we do
Oh,
the fair every other year,
Oh,
and on the
oh,
off
I see.
year, do something that's more focused
Right.
with a different approach.
Right.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
to
it-
have
it
some
gets
kind of event.
Tiresome to do
Yeah.
that fair every year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right, and I think if it's the same topics which we would have.
If we did some birds and insects,
Mhm.
get more focused and do a smaller scale thing that
Mhm.
might,
Yeah, just have presentations.
And there were a few people who we reached out to who said they'd be interested in
Yeah.
coming back, for a different time for a presentation or,
Yeah, because I think
Like,
some
like
of
the nature
Blue
center.
Earth.
Right,
Yeah,
Coast
right.
Nature Center, they were willing, but not at this time.
Another thing you can do, I've seen this done, is video the fair. In other words, actually go table to table and make a little thing and then put that online
Right,
to get people. I mean, I thought of
That's
it
just another way
afterwards,
to
we
get.
missed an opportunity, but that's.
Have someone go basically interview everybody.
You
and
interview,
go.
just do
Yeah.
5 minutes and you go
Right.
through and then you
That's
put.
great.
Yeah,
And then they show their stuff and they, and it takes 5 minutes to pick
Yeah.
what's the story.
Yeah, you might even find some high school or college kids as
Right.
well that has media.
That's
I
actually,
know.
that'd be a perfect fit. I mean, all you need is this, high school, like, high school students or,
Yeah,
Yeah.
reporters and.
Yeah.
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 I noticed the, chamber, we're members of the
Mhm.
organization. And they have this, where they let you enlist what volunteers you need. So I don't know if that, so when you're sponsoring this, you can go for volunteers each week. If you're interested, someone said, so interested in this, we could help. And so the chamber's setting that up for, like, we're putting in, like, somebody help with the web or,
Oh, well, yeah.
there's a whole bunch of categories. But they, I think that's what's assistant fundraising
Mhm.
and stuff. But
Oh, right.
so they'll post it and then volunteers can contact you if they want to help out. So I was thinking, again, very good source of volunteers if you want to plants or whatever. Just,
Somebody did mention that day, or that Saturday to, even try to get some of the other commissions and stuff involved, like land trust or, and I guess we can think about
Land
whether
trust is there.
co-sponsor, whether, I mean, I think if we can do that outreach, because, it's all about the town and this stuff anyway, so. Some will be more appropriate than others, but we can still do the ask. See who wants to do it.
So I guess that brings up the purpose, whether it's strictly education or is it community, what is the purpose of? I mean, if you bring the town and you're bringing a
Yeah, that's
dimension,
true,
you're bringing
yeah.
a different dimension.
Yeah, that's true.
Than providing just.
Yeah, well, it was education to the community. One who lives in our area. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess we would keep it as, I mean, I think it would just be an invite or an FYI to the other commissions that we're doing this. Oh, the other thing, and Kathy Connolly, she mentioned this a bunch of times, she didn't like the name, she thought it was really not,
Catchy enough.
yeah, or whatever, like environmental fair, like, so we'll have to, I mean, it's hard to call it.
It was such a
Something.
wide, it was
Yeah.
intentionally a wide range.
Yeah.
It was.
So I don't know what you call it then.
I know, I don't,
Yeah.
because that's what I said to her, she said, well, you all of a sudden the title's this long, so we can put some time into it, maybe
Eco
it's just
fair.
environmental hair, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
Right,
Universal, I don't know.
I know, or it could just be environmental fair, and 4 words or something.
Or you could have a catchy title, and then the sub thing could be environmental fair. It's birds and bees and you,
Oh, yeah.
and then environmental fair underneath, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, that would, we could do it.
Something
Yeah,
so
something
catchy,
catchy,
and then clarify it with.
But you always wanted to know that what was that movie, right? But you always wanted to know about environment, but we're afraid to ask. Kind of thing. Yeah, all right, I'll make a note, catchy little phrase. Yeah, because I know, I got her point. But, in all of our publications, we explained what was going to be.
Right,
With it,
right.
And it was a big umbrella, and I don't know if that was good or bad, but it was, so
Yeah,
how do you
yeah.
find a succinct way to explain that you can't, it's.
Yeah, because I like that it
it's-
was broad.
Right.
We do have.
It's not just wildlife, it's not just, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, no, I think it's good. I think, I try to capture everything, maybe, well, start on, you'll have some of this in the minutes, but we can have more detailed. Working document when we go to do this next year. So, let's think about, maybe by the next meeting, just try to pick a date. Just pencil it
I think we'll start from here.
and make sure that we find out when there's any major conflicts.
And what you can do is look back this year and see
Oh,
Yeah.
what happened in those days. You
Right,
could
right,
go-
a lot of things.
Yeah,
happen
like
every year
you
the
could
same
look
way.
at the Harbor News or, and something online, like
Yeah,
all the
or events.
Saybrook events, yeah, we have it all online and see if we have a conflict.
Yeah, they don't do it on the weekend, it's chili fest.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And that's usually.
I think that's earlier.
It's earlier,
That's like the first
yeah.
week.
Yeah, that's.
Good point, though.
So it's always cold.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is.
But if we
Or-
were doing
or
a
local
very,
chili
if we were
fest.
doing a very focused one, we
Yeah.
want to have it in enough time before the forms are due for the
Right,
conservation
right.
district. You know, so there are
Yeah.
a couple, depending on what we.
Yeah,
think about it.
March seems good, right?
Well, I think that- I think
Those
that
forms
those
are due
forms
like
were
in April and
First week in April, so that would be, if it was
Oh,
the end
okay.
of March, then it would be a little tight.
Okay.
It would be good to
But you're-
give people time to think.
Yeah. But you're saying, would we want to have them there or just have the forms there that, so that we
Well, we
can?
could have a representative
Yeah,
there
yeah.
and forms.
Which forms are these?
There, the native plants, the conservation district has a sale,
Yeah.
and you fill out forms, and they're reasonable, and they're really nice sized plants, and you then, in like May 4th or something, you end up picking them up at the Chester Fairgrounds.
It's usually around my birthday, actually,
But
that I remember, the end of April.
the forms are due at the beginning of April.
Yeah,
And so if we were gonna do one that focused on, you know, planting,
native, yeah.
then I think having several weeks to
Yes, at least.
think about it. Yeah.
Well, and
I
I was,
think
now, the New London extension, the Yukon, extension, New London, their deadline was April 30th.
Oh,
That was the one Dave had given me some of that. So yes, there's some different
Yeah,
ones.
yeah.
Yeah,
But anyway, but that's the earliest one and that's a popular one,
Right,
so
right.
we should consider that.
and now that I think of it, I'll try to remember to put it into the Google Docs. My friend Tim, who is there, he consults now for American Beauty, is that right? Yeah, American Beauty. Yeah, and he said he would be willing to come, because he knows all kind of plant, trees and stuff, so we would think it's, you know, what it's supposed to be, but. I don't remember.
Here is the semi-Q too. There's gonna be an awful lot of events going on.
What?
Centennial, it's the 200th anniversary or something of the Revolutionary, 1776, right?
250.
Yeah, semi-decline and semi-Q. But there's gonna be a lot of funding, there's gonna be a lot of events, there's gonna be all kinds of things. You could do an American Revolution garden. What did a garden look like?
Great.
Liberty.
Liberty Garden. There's gonna be a lot happening and a lot of marketing opportunities.
But that would be more in the summer, right?
But it's gonna go, they don't even want it just in the summer, they want it all year.
Then it's in
Yeah.
like the town.
It'll be, well, arts
state.
organizations, the state, the Office of the Arts, what's left of the humanities and museums.
Yeah, that's right, 250.
Yeah, 250.
That's what he said, I remember. the
There's gonna be an
200.
awful lot in the summer, like, absolutely.
That's the young guy, man.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for
Yes,
bringing
that-
for your
that's a good-
stuff.
Yeah,
too, by the
sorry, I
way.
just wanted to mention that, because if you think about that, I don't know, there might be some funding available, or
Well,
things
I
are
mean,
starting to
yeah.
come out now.
Oh, yeah. No, I was gonna say, but thank you for bringing your stuff from the
Oh.
Iverton, yeah.
Oh,
A
that's
couple things
great.
were broken.
Oh, that's okay.
I mean, the little spider stands,
Yeah.
but we used the ones that weren't even handy.
Good.
We did, yeah, we did. Good. We used those, so. Anything else? I don't think we don't have anything else on the agenda. So we did the wrap up, lots of big notes, lots for next year.
Well, I had a question. Does anyone know, about the dock and dine, the land, exchange, when there's gonna be a hearing on that?
There is, I don't remember the date, it's a public.
I thought it was in June.
Yeah, I thought, I read in the Harbor News that the vote was gonna be in June.
Yeah.
So is there a hearing before that?
I think there's another. Oh, there is a vote. You're right. It's
Yeah.
yes,
The
yes,
vote's
yes.
in June, but they don't have a date yet as according to her producer.
Oh, yeah, no, if it wasn't in, then it's, you don't have.
What's this for?
For the property exchange.
The
I thought they
sandbar.
did- I thought they did set a date. They, I thought it was.
I thought I saw it like June 21st or
Yeah,
something like that.
No, they also had a date.
Maybe, I mean, would it be on the website,
Yeah.
probably? the
Yeah, I think
website?
it's
Okay.
that, right.
Anyway, it's fun.
But it's I think they still have to have one more public.
That's what I thought. That's what we're
Because
calling.
Yeah.
they have an informal,
Yeah.
but they have to have an official.
Yeah.
But I think they're pushing it along.
Yeah, because they didn't have to write up. That one I read.
Yeah. Yeah, that's.
Anyway, I think it's very exciting.
What's that?
I think it's very exciting to have that.
Well, hopefully it passes.
Yeah, I know, that's the
Yeah.
thing, that's why I was cons to losing Vicky Duffy, but if they build another facility.
Something,
Bill,
something
yeah.
has to happen.
Yeah, and
And
for
there's
other
always gonna
towns,
be
It's
people
it's not like that's the only place
Yeah,
to have a
I know.
meeting. Yeah.
There's
They can
always gonna
build
be
it.
people who have.
Isn't the library expanding?
Yeah.
The library.
I was thinking of that too. They might have more conference.
They will have more
rooms.
conference.
The clusters for acquiring that are so
Right. Oh, yeah.
I know.
awesome.
Oh, it's
I
just
know.
amazing having.
And
Yeah.
something has to happen there.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
it's
it's
not-
gorgeous piece of property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Water.
That's looking derelict right now.
right,
Right.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah, the
Seagulls
other,
have fun in that.
the other thing that comes to people, no matter what structure that they became, it's eventually going to be wiped out anyways. With the hurricane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sea level rise, so
Yeah.
it's into your benefit long term to get that land.
Right.
Yes.
If you got the pavilion.
Right.
Right.
You can always build pavilion.
Yeah.
Build land.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a deal too. We better step in.
Yeah, when I read that, I was like, oh my goodness, I would have never bet that.
But you know,
It's such a
50-50.
little spot.
The meeting it was.
That's why I'm.
That's crazy, huh?
Keep an eye on.
Yeah.
when the-
Yeah,
when the
that's
next
true, yeah, we
Meeting
should,
is,
yeah,
because
yeah.
people who have a complaint, and of course there's a complaint, you know, yeah, my grandmother's birthday party
Of
was
course.
down, it was
Yeah.
very
3
nice.
years old and I.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but, you know, I meet some people, because a lot of times we sit home thinking, well, it's a good idea, I'm sure it'll pass. No, you
Yeah,
got the people
yeah.
going,
Yeah,
yeah, it's worth going.
Yeah, no, good to bring that up, because, yeah, we can,
Yeah,
you know, we don't have to necessarily, I'm not sure it's
not
necessarily
representative,
as
no,
conservation,
no,
but
no,
Individual, we can go.
And grab
like,
it.
who want to say that we're in favor of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
canvas the right.
great.
Backed up.
Yeah, well, you know what, I have a concert at the Caton for meeting for food. At the Apple, like, oh.
But have we adjourned?
No.
You got the chair.
Good.
Yeah, I know.
I
I've
make a
been more.
motion that we adjourn.